Myotismon, one of the most memorable not just villains, but characters from Adventure 1999. A master manipulator and simply an absolute powerhouse of an ultimate level Digimon. Aizen, the mastermind of Ichigo's entire life, the one who transcends Soul Reapers, the war potential with the most reishi, and debatably the second strongest character in all of Bleach. These characters have a lot in common, from their cocky personalities, their ability to take on multiple powerful members of the cast at once, their manipulative personalities, and their overwhelming aura. But what would happen if they were to meet on the battlefield? Howdy everybody, my name is Mustache Panda, and today we will be discussing who would win in a one-on-one fight between Myotismon and Aizen. Before we get started, it would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button. I made a bet with my bearded dragon Reptar that I could hit 3,000 subs by the end of the year, and if I win, he's gonna give me $100,000. Anyways, into the video. Starting off with Myotismon, he is an absolute monster. Early on in his arc, he is able to completely tank the attacks of multiple champion-level Digimon, and he does this without ever taking a scratch. And in more than one instance, he's able to follow this up by one-shotting those same champion-level Digimon. On top of this, he has some insane performance against other ultimate or perfect-level Digimon as well. In multiple instances, he's able to completely shrug off attacks from Digidestined ultimate-level Digimon like Lilymon and Garurumon. And when he doesn't outright tank the hits, he really has no issues deflecting or blocking these attacks. We see this in his fight against Garurumon and even Metal Greymon, who at this point should be the strongest ultimate level Digimon the Digidestined have access to. In a majority of these instances, he's also able to push these same Digimon back, if not outright defeat them. This level of performance isn't secluded to 1v1s either. While he didn't outright beat them, he was able to handle his own very well in a 2v1 against Garurumon and Angemon without taking a single scratch. On top of that, in episode 37, Wizardmon's Gift, he's able to not only outright make a fool of Garurumon, he's able to once again block an attack from Metal Greymon, followed by blocking an attack from Lilymon, Zudomon, Garudamon, and Mega Kabuterimon all at once. This is extremely impressive because while the Digidestined's Digimon aren't all perfectly equal in strength, they should be relative to each other for the most part. Metal Greymon alone was able to almost destroy the digital world using the power of his Giga Destroyers. This is consistent as Etemon fused with the Dark Network was a threat to the digital world, and Metal Greymon required that level of power to beat him. On top of this, Mega Kabuterimon in his first appearance is able to completely destroy Vamdemon's universal structure. This is confirmed to be a universe from multiple different sources such as the anime itself, the light novel of Adventure 1999, which was written by the director of the 1999 anime, Hiroyuki Kakudo, alongside one of the screenwriters for 1999, Hiro Masaki, thus making it canon, as well as being confirmed in the data books and companion material for the Adventure 1999 anime. These two feats should give us a solid range for where Myotismon should scale AP-wise. On the low end, considering Mega Kabuterimon's feat, this should put us in the Universal Plus ranges. With the consideration of cosmology and Myotismon's feats over Metal Greymon, who was able to not only defeat Etemon, but was strong enough to break through the 6-dimensional barriers between the real and digital world accidentally, all of which should be universal structures at the least, as each is similar to the digital world itself, Myotismon should have a high ball of low multiversal. This seems like the more consistent scale as, like I mentioned before, not only is Myotismon able to either tank or outright block an attack from every Digidestined's Digimon in a one-on-one fight, including Metal Greymon's attacks twice, he is able to block 4 attacks at once from Digimon who should all be relative to Mega Kabuterimon in his first appearance. Some of those Digimon, such as Garudamon and Garurumon, can even be argued to be closer to Metal Greymon in strength than they are Mega Kabuterimon. As far as speed goes for Myotismon, it's actually pretty simple. We see him easily reacting to things like Wizardmon's lightning-based attack. On top of this, Myotismon should be inherently faster than most champion-level Digimon such as Peckmon, who was able to dodge Sunflowmon's light beam. We know these are light beams since it's stated in the Digimon databook that Sunflowmon fires sunlight. This feat has been calced up to FTL. This should be consistent as Digimon like Garudamon and Mega Kabuterimon are able to dodge Vamdemon's laser beams with 0 effort and 0 damage, as dozens of shots rain down upon them, which has been calced up to massively FTL. And Myotismon has shown time and time again to be superior to these same Digimon with the capability to counter, dodge, or deflect the majority of their attacks. Now, there is an argument to be made that Myotismon should have infinite speed, as other ultimate Digimon like Kano-Weissmon are stated to have abilities that cross over dimensions. But since Myotismon is shown in Adventure to require a special tool to cross dimensions into the human world, even with his ability to create portals, it seems much more consistent to put him at the FTL to massively FTL ranges. As far as his abilities and hacks go, Myotismon has a few that may be useful in this battle. Using Night Raid, Myotismon can do things like creating portals, which he can attack through without actually stepping through. Night Raid also provides a mixture of durability negation and existence erasure, as in the Adventure Light novel I had mentioned earlier, we are told that Myotismon was able to turn the bats he summons from living beings to destructive weapons that forcefully annihilate whatever they hit. He also has Wave of Death, which has a range of effectiveness from being able to absolutely obliterate the target to leaving the target in a state of near death like he does to Lilymon. Aizen is one of the most recognizable shonen antagonists to this very day, and he is quite powerful as well. Let's start off with speed for Aizen. In the Soul Society arc, we are introduced to the Negacion, which, as described in the Bleach official character book Souls, as well as in the manga by head captain Yamamoto, is in fact a light or a light beam. 4 characters, 2 captain class in Soifon and Yoroichi, and 2 lieutenant class in Hisagi and Rengoku, were able to dodge this with very little warning. This should be, at the very least, a relativistic speed feat, and Aizen should be above the characters who perform this feat, since he was able to block a full-speed Bankai Ichigo and nearly slice him in half. And this same Ichigo, though in good health, was able to blitz and one-shot 3 lieutenants who should be equal to or stronger than the lieutenant-class Shinigami who performed this relativistic feat. If we account for the fact that Ichigo was able to blitz these relativistic threats in Shikai, and Aizen was able to blitz his Bankai form, which should have a 10 times multiplier, this feat could be extrapolated to the highest end of relativistic up to light speed itself. To take it a step further, we learn in the Fate Karakura Town arc from Kaname Tosen that based on his estimations, a holification is above the power granted by a Bankai as he proceeds to don a hollow mask and is able to fight on par with Komamura and Hisagi at the same time. This should mean that at a minimum, holification should grant another 10 times multiplier similar to the high end of Bankai. This seems consistent as within the same arc, we see a majority of the visors use their hollow mask rather than their Bankai when fighting the Espada. This means that with Ichigo, he should have at least a 20 times multiplier on his power and speed when he shows up in the Fate Karakura Town arc and confronts Aizen for the first time. Aizen in his base form is able to dodge Ichigo's Getsuga Tensho and is able to completely perception blitz Ichigo, who at this point should be at least 10 times faster than light due to his multipliers. This should put Aizen in the FTL plus category of speed at this point. From this point on, up to Butterflyzen, it's hard to tell how much faster he gets. It's definitely by a vast margin, but due to the lack of multipliers or calculable speed feats, it's mostly unquantifiable. But at one point, he was able to catch Dangai Ichigo off guard. Dangai Ichigo was able to keep up with Butterflyzen's teleportation for most of their fight, so similar to Myotismon, there could be an argument made for up to infinite speed, but again, that isn't very consistent, so FTL Plus should be the most reasonable. Looking at Aizen's AP, there are a few things we need to consider. To start off, Aizen's original plan with the Hogyoku was to take it and its power up to the Royal Palace in an attempt to overtake the Soul King. To do this, he would have had to beat all of Squad Zero. Squad Zero has 2 of the 3 best feats within the series. Starting off in the Thousand Year Blood War arc anime, which has been directly supervised by Tite Kubo, thus it is canon, Senjumaru, when releasing her Bankai, states that even the slightest release of their power could cause the heavens and earth of all 3 worlds to tremble. This should be consistent, as it isn't just stated by Senjumaru themselves, it's also stated in external media. If we assume that Aizen at the end of the Fake Karakura Town arc is at least relative to the individual characters in Squad Zero, he should scale to this feat. And if we take a look at Aizen sealed in the chair in TYBW, realistically he should scale above this feat and Squad Zero. Here is why. In Bleach, it's stated that high enough spiritual pressure can cancel out the hacks of another character. For example, in Fake Karakura Town arc, Aizen is stabbed by Soifone using her Shikai twice in the same spot, which in any other instance is an instant kill. Aizen is able to cancel out this ability using his spiritual pressure alone, stating he is suppressing Soifone's technique. Ichibei, who is the leader of Squad Zero and should be the strongest member, fought and lost to Yuha Ba. In this fight, we know Ichibei was using his Bankai as he stated as much, and that is what he used to rename Yuha. And remember, Ichibei is the leader of Squad Zero, so he should be vaguely stronger than Senjumaru. Yuha, along with the power of the Almighty, is able to cancel out this ability entirely, thus granting his own name and power back, allowing him to beat Ichibei. But do you know whose ability Yuha wasn't able to stop even with the Almighty? That's right, Aizen. Not only does he put him under his hypnosis at the very beginning of the arc, Yuha notices he's under it when his perception of time gets thrown off. Yuha was even under the assumption that he had broken it, but he was never able to. It wasn't until Aizen released it on his own that Yuha was free from the hypnosis. This ability was so strong that even after Yuha had absorbed the Soul King, Aizen was able to manipulate him enough to make Yuha think he was fighting Ichigo, when in reality he was fighting Aizen the whole time. And this isn't even accounting for the fact that this ability superseded the Almighty, which allows Yuha to see into different timelines and pick the best outcome, meaning time hacks and future sight abilities don't work on Aizen's hypnosis. So, this would mean Aizen should be above the likes of Ichibei and Bankai, who is above the other Squad Zero members in strength and should be relative to Yuha. So where exactly does Aizen land scaling-wise? If we account for the fact that there are 3 worlds, the Living World, Hueco Mundo, and the Soul Society, and the fact that they all have their own heavens as stated by Senjumaru, it being shown that each world has its own sky and star system, along with places like the Garganta, which is infinite or endless depending on the translation, which was also in the crossfire of this battle, on top of realms like Muken existing in Soul Society, which is stated to be infinite in size, with Yuha being a threat to all of that, Aizen being able to keep up with Yuha in physical combat, as well as keeping him locked in the hypnosis of Kyoka Suigetsu, should put Aizen in the Universal Plus to low multiversal level. So both characters roughly scale the same, and Myotismon is debatably faster than Aizen. How does this battle turn out? Well, there are a few factors that this will come down to. Firstly, while Myotismon is faster, Aizen's ability to teleport without the use of portals does help close this gap a little bit. Though reaction speed-wise Myotismon should be faster, creating a portal and stepping through it is not the same as instantly teleporting. So, if Myotismon can't reasonably speed blitz, what does this battle come down to? Well, there are 2 things. Can Aizen or Myotismon overcome the other's immortality, and can Myotismon counter Aizen's hypnosis? Let's start with the immortality issue. Aizen has type 1, 2, 3, and 4 immortality. That means he's unaging, can survive virtually any wound like a hole through the chest, can regenerate from any wound, and if enough damage were to be done to him, he will just evolve further, healing all of the wounds. Whereas Myotismon has type 5 and 7, meaning existence erasure is one of the few things that can actually permanently take him out, and of course, he is undead, so like Aizen, in a way, he is ageless. Aizen definitely has the edge when it comes to types of immortality, as the only real thing Myotismon can do to Aizen is attempt to use existence erasure via Night Raid. but it's dubious if this would even work, as Aizen was not able to be executed by things like the Sokyoku, which should be existence erasure as it vaporizes the soul, as well as being immune to spells like Hado 54, which is stated in the Bleach official character book Unmasked Volume 2 to be a form of existence erasure. This should mean Aizen at least has a resistance to being erased, while also having access to some of those erasure techniques as a Kido master. In other words, because of their similarity in strength and Aizen's resistances, Aizen should be minimally, if at all, affected by erasure of this level, whereas Myotismon hasn't shown any resistances to erasure of any level. Now looking at Kyoka Sugetsu Hypnosis, aka Kanzen Simon, Myotismon has no real counter to this type of ability, and the fact that all Myotismon has to do is look at Aizen, and boom, he's fallen under that ability, it should be extremely easy for Aizen to catch him off guard. In short, Aizen is the winner of this battle. Between scaling to a similar level, having the higher and better form of immortality, and being able to use Kanzen Simon with no real counter should grant him the W despite the speed difference. Now with that being said, if we were accounting for evolutions, I think Venom Myotismon would actually have a lower chance of beating Aizen, whereas Mallow Myotismon would likely have a much better chance, if not a 100% chance, of beating Aizen. But that's a video for another day. Thank you all so much for watching, and shout out to my Ultimate Level channel members, Mr. Nick Legit, Freakonaut Games, and B-Shots. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you in the next video.